Hey there, boys and girls and boys, welcome to a how-to video. Now I know what I said, that when I come back it will be a prank video. The first video on my comeback will be a prank video, but Halloween's coming up and I've been playing with latex rubber, making all sorts of crazy shit. And if you want to see that, if you haven't already, and you're following me on Twitter or Facebook, or you're in my Discord, or all above, then head over and have a look, see what I've done, and you'll see my eyes coming out, tissue, scars, masks. But here's my last one that I've done. I named Jack, and as you can see, I put Velcro on the back, and the Velcro is so you can adjust the tightness that you want it, and it's better than elastic, because elastic will put tension. I made a hole there. I was going to use elastic, but I had a change of heart, because I know that if I tied it on, it's going to put tension around here, and then when you wear it, it's going to put more tension on. Or even if you didn't tie it, and I'm getting the sun shining right in my eyes. Anyway, yeah, even if you didn't tie it and you stapled it on, oh, that's better. It'll damage it because it's got the holes, and it's going to tug and it's going to tear. So this is better. It'll hold the whole thing carefully. I used a glue gun and glue sticks. I got the sun right in my eyes again. There you go. There, you cover it. But yeah, we used 2-ply tissue, which you need that so you can separate the 2 plies, so it's not too thick, it'll all end up even. I used an airbrush. It's not important to use an airbrush, but it helps you get that nice fine look. Acrylic paint, 1 part acrylic, 1 part water, 1 part latex rubber. Mix that all together. And then the latex will protect the paint when it comes on, you know, and it'll last forever. You don't have to worry about it smudging or rubbing off, and it'll become as one. Baby talc, you need baby talc, and that sun's bright there. 2-ply tissue, baby talc, also if you and cotton as well. We need cotton. It gives that nice bump feel to it around the nose and the flesh. But all the stuff that we're going to be using will be in the description below, just in case you haven't got any. As for fan, I don't know about that. But we'll see. I might look up some cheap ones for you guys. If you've got a spare hairdryer, I'd suggest using that, because it dries quick. Don't use a hairdryer if it's the only one, because after a while of doing a lot of masks, it will burn out. So, but it won't burn out just making the one mask, obviously, you know. But it will get very hot. But latex doesn't take long to dry anyway. Hang on, put him back up. There we go. I've got a window at the side of me. But yeah, latex doesn't take long to dry up. I'll be using a fan, being so I don't have a spare hairdryer, and the sun won't be in my eyes, not up that air, because the window's there, and I'm going to be up there. Alright guys, let me think, have we covered everything? Yep, I think we have. Alright guys, I'll see you in a sec over on the operating table, so catch you in a bit. Welcome guys and girls to the operating table. As you see, we've got our mannequin here, and we've got a tub of latex, liquid latex rubber. The sponges we will be using will be these triangle ones, so you can dip it in your latex and dab it on its head. We have cotton, because we might be needing that for certain shapes and things like that, and also textures, because when it's wet it starts coming apart, so that would give a bumpy flesh look. In the next parts, when we're painting it, I'll be teaching you how to make latex paint. I have all sorts of colours. I've got light red, I've got dark blood red, all stored in here. You need these little tubs. These are good, get in tubs. Or what you could do is sauce bottles. You get your measurements out. All three has to be the same measurement. Same measurement of water as what you've got of acrylic paint. Same measurement. The same goes for the latex. Has to be all the same measurement. And you just put it in your bottle and shake it. Now, if you're not using a bottle and you're using little tubs, either this size or bigger, make sure all are the same size, all are the same measurements. Not the tubs, but the paint and the acrylic and the water, all the same measurement. And this way it all gets protected and it'll last forever on the mask. And before, every time you're going to use it, like say for instance, if I'm going to use these now, I'll give them a mix and then they're alright for the rest of the painting. But the reason why you have to mix them every time you're going to use them is because when they start to settle for so long, the latex and the acrylic tries to separate, the water tries to separate, so you're mixing it all back in so it's all back together again. We have our fan to help dry it, and we have a jar of talc, because latex likes to stick together. So we have our 2-ply tissue, and what we do is we take a square off, then we take them off a bit, we separate the 2-ply, and then we'll tear bits off or cut bits off in latex. We put some latex on it, put some of this on, latex on top, and do that all around, wait till it dries, powder it down, and do the same again. Repeat the process. So let's begin. Oh, also is another good idea is, because the latex likes to dry so quickly, what I like to do is I use one of these tubs on the lid, right? And what you do is put the sponge back in. When you're doing the next bit, every time you're not doing the dabbing, put the sponge in the tub, close the lid, and then you can do your powdering and your tidying, or you can stop for a little break while it's drying, and your sponge will always stay soft and wet instead of hard and rubbery, which will be probably taking off some of the latex and sticking to each other. You know, because the latex that you're putting on top of the other latex needs to stay wet, not on here but on your sponge, otherwise it's just going to rub it off and it's going to go over wet and it's going to get ruined. So when you powder it, do it over a bin, that way it all goes straight into the bin and less tidying up for yourself. Okay, so let's begin. So I'll take the top off the sponge tub, dab it in, go all around the line. In fact, you don't even have to, it's the first layer, so you don't have to be too careful. Just make sure you cover them all up evenly. Go around where you want it to be. You could even put a bit of acrylic in your mixture that you're using, because if you've got a white mannequin and you're using this, it goes very clear and it's hard to tell sometimes where you've done. The only thing that helps you is when it's shiny. nice and thin. Don't use a paintbrush, or unless you don't mind ruining it and whatever, because what's going to happen is, if you use a paintbrush, all that latex will stick in the bristles, and then that's it, your paintbrush is now it's no good. Might as well bin it. But these sponges are fairly cheap, you can get a lot of them, you know, in a bag, as you like what I've got. Find them in any cosmetic stores. If you haven't got any acrylic paint, but you've got a lot of emulsion paint, that's good. Same measurements, water it down, same measurement as what the emulsion that you're putting in of water, and the same with the latex. Just ordinary house paint, not glossy paint though. Has to be like emulsion paint, any colour you wish. And to keep it around the eyes if I can. And you get every bit that you can get. So the first layer needs to be this anyway, so you don't want to cover up where the nostrils would normally be, unless you've got some other ideas that you want to do, because you're not going to, you know, you need it to be lined up where the nose will be, so you know where your nostrils are going to be, because you want to breathe, don't you? Or do you? Nice and even, as tight as you can get it. It dries fairly quick anyway when you first start putting it on thin, so that helps. That helps keep it under control where you want it to be. I'm going to go around the ears for I like mask type shape. Go on the lips. It doesn't matter if you close up the lips, you don't need to worry about no gaps, because you can always cut them out after you're done. As for the nose, it's just a little bit harder. Make sure you don't miss any areas, because once you're done, you're going to be putting a tissue on top of those areas. So. Under the chin. Good thing I like about latex, if you get it on you, just rub it off. It's like PVA glue, only get it in your clothes, you won't be able to wash it off. Because it will get stuck in the seams. Goes head to the side. Right, paint a little line. not wearing my best clothes. And it doesn't have to be too perfect, because when the mask is done you're going to be cutting around it anyway to tidy it up. The bits that you want, the bits that you don't want, looking more neat and tidy. I'll leave that to set, put the sponge back in the box and put the lid on, keep it moist. Get a fan on it and leave it for a little while. I'll come back to it when it's ready. Alright guys, that's that dry, so we'll stop the fan. Let's see, it's still a little bit shiny. Can't really see much difference, but looking carefully you can almost, well, when you're doing it you'll see it, because it's almost like a yellowish colour. So what I need to do now is powder it down, and then we're ready with the next lot. But yeah, you can feel the difference. It's like it's got a rubbery glove on. Right, so let's get this done. Alright, that's been powdered. Take off the any excess powder. You can go fast, but just don't rub hard, or else you'll be rubbing off the layer of the latex, and you don't want to be doing that. There we go. So we're set now for the next lot. I think what we'll do is we'll start putting on the tissue layer. So we need to do another layer of latex, and while it's wet we'll put the tissue on it. Don't have to cover them all up in it, just enough to do a bit at a time, and then you overlap that with another bit. You might need to dab actually, because some of it might start tugging, but you need it fairly wet. Don't worry if you go over the lines. As we know, because this is one ply now, it's going to be very sensitive when it's wet. So just very gently dab it on, not to tear it. See, I'm going a little bit over the lines, but I can see where the line is that I need. So, and I can stay within that line anyway. With the when I'm putting the latex on, that's not sticking down. If you get any bits that's not sticking down, just lift it up, dab it. The bits that you want it to stick down, and you're good to go. There we go. Dab that back down very carefully, because it's wet, so, and you don't want to wait till it's dry, so just keep dabbing it until it's down nice and neat. No bubbles in there or anything, just that'll do. Go over it again, but dab it very carefully, because you're now going over the tissue. You want that tissue bit to stay on. because that's what gives it its extra strength. Without the tissue, it's just all, well, like an elastic band, but not as strong. Trying to keep it along that line. If I can. There we go. See, it's good as well, because if you're going over and you keep the bits that you don't want as dry as possible, you can easily cut them off. Keep it soaked, keep the sponge soaked when you're doing it, but don't lose your lining, or don't rub too hard on the tissue, or you should be rubbing it back off. There we go. If there's any bits that's peeling up, just try and knock it down the best you can, but very carefully. Try and keep it all smooth. It's a long process this, but well worth the effort, you know. Right, that's that bit. Let's try and neaten that up. Now we need another bit. Let's measure that where I need it to be. I think we can actually tear a bit off this one. Put a bit more in here, keep it all wet. Remember the lining where you've gone as well with the tissue. Look very carefully if you can see the lining. Especially around the eyes. Because you want to cover it all. You know, but not the bits where you're going to have cut open. If you can help it. And level that up. So I'm just going around the outside and I'm going to work my way in. Every now and then rub your hands, because if you've got a bit of latex on you, it can make the tissue stick to your hands. Like I said, latex sticks to latex and tissue gets very sensitive. That makes it all tear and stick. Right, we'll come back once we've covered his face up. So carry on doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Cover his face up like what you just saw there. And keep on doing what we've just been doing until his whole face is covered up with the first layer. Don't worry about overlapping, just try not to overlap it too much on the first layer, because you want to keep it all as neat as possible, because you want it to look good, right? I'll tidy it up a little bit around there. Bumps out a little bit. Right, and I'll see you in a tick once I've gone all around the outside and around the inside with the tissue. See you in a tick. Right, okay, so as you can see now, we've done all around the face. I've gone underneath. Some bits, it's not a perfect line, but it doesn't really matter. We'll be tidying it up after. So what's next is powdering it. So there we go. Let's get the powder off. So that's the first layer. Now we need to add on the second layer, so we'll do that again. What you just did, got to do it again, because you need it to be strong, don't you? So you want it to be strong. Make sure you get off all the powder. Now the reason why we're putting powder on and then some more latex and then some more tissue is, well, apart from that we need it to be stronger, but the powder will stop it from, when you put the sponge in the latex, and it's not going to rub it and start pulling it all apart. Okay. And like I said, just overlap where you've done before. Overlap the mouth as well. Don't forget the mouth. You've got to put some on that, and we'll make them a bit thicker, but not like too thick. But yeah. I think I'll start at the forehead. Keeping that line the best we can. And then once we've made it so thick, what we'll do is we will start putting things on, like cuts, maybe scar, you know, like torn flesh or something, you know. It doesn't matter about stroking it on now, because it's already strong enough now. So, but it's not strong enough to wear because it's still too thin, way too thin. So we're going to be putting some more latex on and some more tissue, and we're going to keep up this process until when it's fairly thick-ish, because then once we've made the scars and tissues and everything on it, or whatever you add into it, then we'll build some more layers on top of that so it all blends in. Because what you're doing is, when you put some on, you're making another step, you're making it thicker. So when you're putting some on to make, say, cuts, it's going to blend and come out, and then you're going to have these big steps. So which means you work on the outside of them cuts then, so it blends in with the skin look. So very carefully dab it on, making sure you got none on. So you've got to keep rubbing your hands after.
because if it sticks, it's going to tear. And then all that work will just go down the drain. Very carefully rub it and wipe it on, but make sure that the sponge is very wet, but not so wet it's going to drip and run everywhere and make a mess. And I mean, I don't seriously soak it in. All you need to do, I don't know if it's going to show, you just dab it, just the tip of the sponge, just dab it in so it's nice and wet, and just keep dabbing it in, stroking a little bit on, spreading it even over the line of that tissue. Now I've been using I've been using the scissors to cut the sizes I want, because I want to get that nice even steady look. So yeah, use the tissue, use the scissors. That is actually a better idea. I didn't think until after. And that's what I did when I made Jack. I started off tearing the tissue, and then I found that cutting it was a lot more neater and a lot more sufficient for me instead of the tears. And it's good to go around the outside as well first before you start filling in the middle. Work your way in. Now I mean, before you know it, try and smooth it out best you can. And always remember where you've just done. If you look carefully, don't try and lose that line, because if you lose that line, then you've had it. You know, well, you're not had it, but you know you've got to try and find it again. So we'll keep this up and do the second layer. And I'll see you in the tick once we've covered up the whole face once again for the second layer. Alright, we're on the last bit now, around the mouth. Very carefully tuck it into the lips. Like I said, it doesn't matter if the lips are actually closed up, if the mouth is closed up, because we got the shape. You'll be able to easily free that mouth, open it up, cut it from the inside. You'll have a little line. So let's go around this. A bit of latex. Put some on the bottom mouth, try and smooth up what we can. I'm not even too worried about the nose being covered up, because we roughly got the shape now on the first layers that we did. So try and thinning it down a bit. Very carefully smooth it out. Get that bit around the chin. Latex around the chin part. Now, because I went round the actual front of the face, I need to do a little bit under. I didn't do the under the chin part. Next up, we need to dry it and then start putting some shapes on it, you know, like maybe some cuts in the skin, bits missing. Lie down, do the under the chin part. I think I'll crisscross this bit. I might actually go a little bit off my line as well. That way, at least I can tidy it up and line it the way I want, the way I'm after. So I'll go around it. Yeah. I'll go a bit off my, over my line a bit. I don't think it really matters because it still show, because the way I'm putting the latex, and as you can see, the latex actually goes to a yellowy colour when it's nice and thick and starts drying out. Don't worry about it if it starts getting anywhere, like, you know, on the sides, works, you know, on the board or whatever, or all over your mannequin. You just rub it and it just comes straight off. Right. Put the sponge back in the tub. and we'll leave that to dry. And then when that's dry, we'll come back and start putting on the scars, the cuts, and start shaping the face to what we want it to look like. So, I'll see you in a tick. Alright guys, I'm back, and he's dry. Look at that. It's all shiny until we put the powder on. I think we need to do, really, if you look at the seam here, it's not very thick, so it needs to be thicker. So I'll put some more powder on and we'll do another layer. Sorry I can't record me actually putting the powder on, but you know what to do. You just dip this in the talc and then dab it on, and then once you've done that all over, just give it a quick brush down, make sure it's all off. See, you know what to do. You don't need that video, but you don't need to see how to put powder on something, do you? You guys are daft. You know what to do. You don't have to completely bury it, which is obvious. It's just a bit of powder all over it, just to take the stickiness away, so it doesn't stick and tear, and in the long run as well, it also makes it more stronger, doesn't it? So, alright, so make sure it's all off, any excess that we don't want. There we go. You just want one of these brushes. Yeah, they're really good because they're spaced out, and you can actually just turn it in the eye like that, and it'll, and they're nice and soft as well, so it's not too rough on the mask. There we go. Right, we need to do the next layer. And we'll do it in strips. So what we do is we'll separate these. Right. So you separate the 2 ply to 1 ply. Carefully, not like an idiot, not like I did, like an idiot. You give it a good tug like a fool. It don't matter, because it's alright. That's good, because we're only going to be cutting them in strips anyway. So. And then we just work along like that, down, 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 and then round, and then round, and then when you've done one half, do the same again on the other side. I'll be starting this side, along the lines. I think after we've covered this layer, then we can start putting the cuts and markings on whatever you want to do and whatever I want to do. You don't have to do exactly the same, just apart from the layers that we want to do. So that's all you need to do, just keep putting on those layers, and then when you're satisfied with how thick it is, then we'll work on from the next. But it does need to be fairly thick, so bear that in mind. Doesn't have to be like super thick, just enough to give it strength. I'll show you an example in a minute. We'll just get this layer on, and then I'll show you an example on how thick I work with. I'll just put this one on a minute. Right, let's put this top on here. I'll go and get Jack. Right, with this mask, this is, I don't know where you can see, but see how thick that is there. Right, that's how thick we want it. It's still bendy, but we want, wow, if you look at it at certain angles, it actually looks like its nose is coming in. I don't know, whatever. So yeah, have it fairly thick, so it's nice and strong, okay? It won't just tear easily. Just think, when you've done your mask, no one else will have a mask like yours. Now to me, I think that is cool. Especially if you're doing an awesome job on it. And I believe you guys are doing an epic job. And what I want you to do is, when you've done your mask, do me a little favour, will you? Send me them over. Either on, oh yeah, on Discord would be easier, if you got it. I'd love to see your work. See what you come up with. Trying to get these little turns that I'm after. Now, you know, like, so when the mask goes round the face, it's going to be nice and smooth around the sides. Take it down here. This is going to take a while, because as you know, it takes a long process. So we'll be back when I've finished the whole face. Well, that's our next layer finished. As you can see, it's now a different colour. It's like ivory, and it's all rubbery. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a bit of talcum powder on it, and then I think it's ready for the cuts and things like that we're going to add on our mask. So, right, let's get this off, and the excess. And then, that's it then. Make sure it's all off. You don't have to be too gentle with this bit, just don't hit hard, because you're using one of these, you can just up and down. Make sure you get everywhere, even in the deep in the eyes and the nostrils. Try and get in the cracks of the mouths. Mouths? There's only got the one. Well, there's an idea. You could add more mouths to it. Whatever. It's your mask. Right, so it's all off now. All that powder. Right, so that comes to end of part 1. Part 2 will be on tomorrow. So, you know, from this upload basically. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop now and do the upload tonight, and then the next one will be tomorrow from the date of this upload. And what we'll do then in part 2, we're going to add in some cuts, maybe a bit of cotton in there, some cotton, so it gives it that more bumpy, uneven flesh look, and then tidy up all this excess tissue that's not needed, so we've got the shape back again. And then once we've got in the cotton and then the tissue to form the torn up skin, the thickness of the skin, and it's going to be going on to the head so it's smooth. And then what we'll do then is we'll add in more layers to blend in with that extra bit that we've done, and then once they're lined up smooth, we'll do one more layer that'll go just a little bit over the extra bit of lining that we've done, the extra bit of cut up skin, the outside, so it gives it that extra strength. And then part 3 will be the painting, and I'll be showing you how to do that. So if you enjoyed the video, guys and girls, give us a thumbs up. If you've got any comments, give us a comment down in the comment section below, or links to the latex, and well, that's all you need for this bit. For part 1 is the latex, isn't it? Maybe some sponges. I'll do some good links, because it's good if you can buy them in bulk. You'll get a lot. But yeah, that's about it for now, guys. Thanks for watching. You rock. Stay safe out there and have an awesome time doing what you do. And yeah, stay awesome, and I'll see you tomorrow in part 2.